and it's all going to be about ministry. That's the vision of the whole thing. It's about number one, glorifying God, and it's about reaching people that would never be reached, and just seeing lives change.
Dave, I'm happy to have you on this evening because there's a lot of new things that are stirring in your life. In addition to what you do with Millennial Reign, God has given you a new assignment. Can you tell us what this new assignment is?
Sure thing. You know, it started out, we released our newest album, World on Fire, in June, and we had a album release event, and you know, what we were planning on doing, I was kind of following the footsteps of the way Petra used to do things back in the day. When they did their tours, you know, they didn't go out with another band. They actually had a guy that traveled with them that was a speaker, and he would come out and speak to the audience and warm them up, basically. And he's speaking the word of God, and then Petra would come out and do their set. Well, I've gotten to know John Lowry pretty well, the keyboardist from Petra, and I called him one day just to kind of get some information on the way they used to do things, because I told him, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, following in those footsteps, basically, and I just, you know, want some information on how you used to do it. And he told me, well, the first thing he said, he says, you know, well, Greg, you know, the first vocalist, Greg Bowles, he said he used to do that as well. He speaks, and he says, you know, he lives right there in your area, right? I'm like, well, I do now. And he actually put me in touch with Greg, and Greg did our album release event with us. And he and I spoke a lot over the weeks leading up to that in the planning stages. And even there at the album release, when we were waiting to go on before he spoke, well, we were discussing the situation of how, you know, Texas being such a large state, there are no Christian rock promoters here in the state whatsoever. No organizers, nothing, anything like that. Whenever anything happens here, you know, it's usually on a local level in a church or even in a bar. And, you know, that really just hit home with me. And after that event, after we had spoken, well, that had been rumbling around in my spirit for probably a good couple of weeks. And I started thinking, well, you know, if there's not anybody like that here to do it, well, then maybe I should step up and do it myself. I mean, I just started feeling the call for it. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I still talk to some people on a national level and just got some input. But what I'm doing now, I'm starting a new festival called North Texas Metal Fest, NTX Metal Fest. And what I'm doing for the first one, there's a band here locally. They're called Stained Red. They will be playing with us. Matter of fact, they're on Resurrection Records with Aaron Michaels. So I'm sure you're familiar with them. And we're going to do it on that level. We're going to have an opening band. We've got a guy coming in who is a recovery pastor at a church in Carrollton, Texas. And of course, he's got a witness, and he's going to speak in between bands. And then, of course, we're going to headline the night, and it's all going to be about ministry. That's the vision of the whole thing. It's about number one, glorifying God, and it's about reaching people that would never be reached, and just seeing lives change. That's what it's all about. And the intention right now, we're going to go like every 3 months or so, quarterly, and we'll build up the funding as we go, and not only the funding, but just legitimacy. And then I'm going to start bringing in bands on a higher level. As a matter of fact, I can't say who they are, but I've already had 2 nationals contact me on the situation, and I'm looking at one of them, bringing them in March.
This is something that has been stirring in your heart for a while, in addition to the project of Millennial Reign. Can you tell us a little bit about how this started as something that was stirring in you and some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome mentally and within the sphere of religion to get this off the ground to where we're at today?
Well, as far as obstacles, the biggest one is your own mind. You know, when people are called to do certain things, you're number one, you're always going to run into spiritual obstructions. But you know, the one place that Satan or we get attacked spiritually is in our mind. You know, Jesus, what he did for us, you know, a lot of people aren't taught this. You know, what he did for us put us on a level of authority. We don't have to take any garbage from him. And if he can get in your mind, and make you, you know, keep telling you things like, you know, there's no way you're going to pull this off. You'll never find the funding. You'll never find the people to help you. You know, whatever it may be, it's always going to start in the mind. And that's the thing that you have to overcome first. You know, and Jesus said, hey, you will overcome the world. But yeah, getting past what goes through your mind, that's the main thing. You know, there's been a dream there for years, goes all the way back to the 80s, as far as reaching people through the music, being a musician, reaching people, you know, through the band that I'm playing in. But this is on a completely different level. This is the first time I've ever gone at it from this angle. So I'm learning a lot of things. I'm contacting people I know that have, you know, been there, done that. As I said, you know, people in Petra that I've talked to. I'm even friends with people in White Cross. Yeah, not White Snake, White Cross. White Cross, you know, Sacred Warrior, you know, other bands and these guys, they've seen it all, they've done it all. So reaching out to these people and tapping their knowledge and getting input, that's a big help. Yeah.
What is the date of the North Texas Metal Fest?
The first one will be October 12th. And again, that will be with Stained Red. And like I say, the second one, we're looking at March 8th. And again, I'm talking with a band on national level right now. And the main thing right now is finding the funding and just working things out on that level.
And here's a question from our feathered friend Poe. He wants to know: are these shows going to be all ages shows?
Right. Yeah, they'll be all ages. You know, we don't put any age limit on anything. You can bring whoever you want. If you want to bring your kids, that's fine. But you know, that's not our main focus is children. You know, I'm not a youth pastor by any means.
You know, that's something I wanted to bring up and address as we're talking about this festival. There's a lot of people that say, hey, oh yeah, these Christian rock concerts, yeah, that's for the youth, or that's a gimmick to get the youth into the church. How would you respond to that criticism? And how is this not what the critics would say?
Well, you know, look at me. I'm 61 years old and I'm still rocking. So, you know, I can't really relate to, you know, reaching out to children. It's not my ministry. You know, so my reply to that would be, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you like the music and you like to be ministered to by the music, well, then by all means, show up. You know, it's not for children at all.
Christian rock, Christian metal, it's not a youth thing. It's something for really somebody who's really searching for the Lord and for those who are growing and really seeking the Lord. There's a lot of powerful ministry that takes place in that genre. I'm excited to hear that you have Stained Red that's going to be on stage with you, because we're good friends with the folks over at Resurrection Records. In addition to them being local, what else about them makes them the perfect match for you guys on stage for this inaugural edition of North Texas Metal Fest?
Well, the main thing is I want to make this clear. Any band that plays this plays this event will be vetted. They will be vetted. And I knew a couple of people that knew them personally. I didn't know them personally, but I had just felt kind of drawn to them. I checked their music out, and I had seen a few live videos of them. And the singer, Kip, he actually pastors a church in Royce City. And I had spent some time just talking to a few people about them that knew them and knew them closely, and just gotten the information that I needed. So after I found out who they were and what they were about, and I listened to their music and checked out the lyrics, I contacted them and invited them to be a part of it.
Yeah, this is going to be a powerful lineup. They're extremely powerful, and when you got a guy that's in the band that is a pastor, that is just really shows the heart of ministry that's going to be going on during this event. And how much do tickets cost, and how can people get tickets for the event?
Okay, tickets are only $20, and let me make this clear also. We're not in this for profit. The reason we charge is for the things that have to be paid for. The venue itself has to be paid for. The sound has to be paid for. And it's not a huge venue. There's only a maximum of so many tickets that can be sold. So, it's not like, even if it's sold out, which I expect it to, I'm just going to put that out there. I mean, I'm
Amen.
Speaking that, declare and decree, it is something.
Amen. Yes.
Even with a sellout, there's not going to be a lot left over after everything's paid. So the money isn't being pocketed. It's going right back into the venue. And also what's left over will go into the next one. It'll just be a rolling expense. And of course, there's that funding of the kingdom as well. Not everything it's any ministry finds the right ministries and puts money into that ministry. And that's exactly what we will do. We will be putting whatever's there. We will be funding the kingdom one way or another.
Amen. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a lot of misconception about that, hey, if this is ministry, it should be free for everybody. Well, somebody's got to pay for something. The money has to come from somewhere. And there's this big misconception today that, hey, these guys that are putting on these Christian metal fests, these rock shows, they're making bank. They're like a regular promoter. We didn't, when we were doing Get Revelation Rock Fest here in South Carolina for 3 years, I didn't make a dime. As a matter of fact, I spent more money on it than we made. And that was not the purpose of it, to make money. The purpose of it was what was in my heart that God put in there was to minister to the community, to break some demonic strongholds of religion in Charleston, South Carolina, which is known as the Holy City. That's more of a mockery than it is the truth of the matter. But that was the heart of it. But there was other fruit that came from it as well. The number of bands and artists that we got to minister to, and what I would call social capital of friendships and connections in the Lord far exceeded any dollar amount that would have ever come in from that event. So, hey, maybe you're watching this and you want to sow into what Dave is doing with this festival, because there's a need for this in Texas. How can people contribute or sow seed into this event, Dave?
Well, they could either do it through our website, which is millennialreign.com. There's our Facebook page, facebook.com/Millennial Reign. And if they want to buy tickets, the tickets are being sold through Eventbrite. So just get on eventbrite.com and just put in Millennial Reign, and it'll pull right up.
And for those of you who can't remember that, I'm going to make it easy for you. All of those links are downstairs in the description. So just go ahead and click those links, go to millennialreign.com, or get your tickets. And that is going to be on October 12th. And what's the location?
It is Platinum Music Complex in North Richland Hills, Texas. The address and everything's right in the Eventbrite notice, and it's also in all the email notices we're sending out. And I believe it's even on the website. I have to check that to be for sure, but there's a link to it, so it can be gotten to through the website.
Excellent. Excellent. And, we cannot end the evening without some Millennial Reign music. And one of your latest releases is entitled Wandering. I love the song. It's very different. It's very unique. Before we play Wandering, what is the song about?
Well, it's basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. There was a time when we all wandered. We were wandering from place to place, from person to person, whatever it may be, and there's no satisfaction in that. There's no victory in that whatsoever. Now, you are not at home until you are with the Lord Jesus Christ. What he did for us. I mean, it's hard to fathom. And he wants us. He wants us to come to him, and he says that he will make our life more abundant. And I can tell you from a personal level that is absolutely true. So the song itself is just about, the time that was wandering and then finding Christ. back in the day, Christian rock, I can remember when Christian rock was very, very harshly preached against. It wasn't always accepted like it is now. As a matter of fact, the first church that I went to, the one I actually got saved in, they preached against Christian rock. But the truth of the matter is, I was stationed in Hanau, Germany, and it was around 85, somewhere around there. And every day there was this young guy. He had come in. It's been so many years ago, I can't even really remember his name. But he was witnessing to me. He was a devout Christian, and he was witnessing to me over a period of weeks. And I was listening to him, and I wasn't being converted right on the spot, but I was listening to him. And he knew I was a musician. And one day out of the blue, he says to me, he says, you being a musician and listening to the style of music you listen to, he says, there's a band you should check out. You would probably like them. I'm like, okay, well, who is it? He said, well, they're called Striper, and they're a Christian rock band. And I'm like, Christian rock? I mean, there is such a thing? I had never heard of that. It just floored me. He says, yeah. He says, they're really good. They'd be right up your alley. He says, I don't listen to them because it's not really my style. But he says, I think you would like them. Okay. So now I don't know how long it was between that and the time that the incident that happened, but it was a matter of days or maybe even a couple of weeks. But there was this little vinyl album shop there in Hanau, Germany, that I was in there every single payday. I was there every payday, for the lack of better words, religiously buying albums on payday. I would go in there and I would literally spend hours. I'd go in and I would just go through the stacks. I'd pick up an album. If I liked the cover, I'd never heard of the band, but if I liked the cover, I'd buy it. That's just who I was. Well, after he had told me about that, I went to that album store on payday one day and opened the door. And just as soon as I walked in the door, there was the rack, the new album rack right in front of me, facing the door. And there was Striper, Soldiers Under Command. It just jumped out at me just like that. Mm. So I saw it. I walked over to it. I picked it up, and I was looking at the album cover. And, of course, I was younger in those days. I liked it, so I bought it. Well, I can go back and put my finger on the very spot now where I knew there was something changing in my spirit as I listened to that album. Now, I didn't get saved right away, but I can remember the way I felt every time I put that album on. There was something in here going on. Yeah. So I know for a fact that Christian metal, Christian rock, whatever it may be, it has its place. It has its ministry. There are certain times, everybody has a divine appointment somewhere where their spirit is going to be changed, and that was mine. And now I don't remember the exact amount of time, but I came home from Germany, and it might have been a year or a little more, and I ended up at this small country church, and I actually got saved. That's where I got saved. And they even preached against Christian rock. But I looking back on it, I get where they were coming from. It was more of a door type situation. They say that like smoking pot leads you into heavier drugs, or one beer leads you into heavier drinking. Whatever it may be. I got their thinking, that this would open the door to something else.
Right.
But I don't specifically agree with that. It really depends on the person. If you were truly saved and you were listening to this, it's not going to send you down the road to hell. That's just not the way it goes. But anyway, that's how I was reached. So all these years, that dream, that vision has been right here. And I was listening to Terry Savelle over the last couple of weeks, and her ministry is on achieving your dreams, making it happen. And something that she said just really caught my attention and opened my eyes, because I always had a question. Is what I'm wanting to do, is it really of God? Is it something the Lord really wants me to do? I've always lived with that question. It was kind of a balancing thing. I have the dream, but is this really what I'm supposed to do? Mm-hmm. And something she stated, and she said, if it's in your heart, it's there for a reason. And when she said that, I mean, the light just went on. And ever since then, I have just been full steam ahead on making this happen. I'm not looking back. I've gone to the Lord and said, look, until you tell me differently, I'm believing that this is your dream, that you have placed it there. This is the vision you've given me. This is the people that you want me to reach. So that's exactly what I'm doing, and I'm doing it full steam ahead.
And here we are, North Texas Metal Fest, October 12th. What time does it start?
The doors will open at 7, and Stained Red will hit the stage at 7:30.
And if you want your tickets, you can go ahead down into the description section where we conveniently place the link for you. If you just want to sew into Dave's ministry, either Millennial Reign or this North Texas Metal Fest, go ahead and do so. We've got a link down there for you for that. Hey, to all of our audience in Texas and North Texas, go to the show. I know you're out there. Some of you have actually reached out to me already. And hopefully I will be able to get out to one sooner than later. That is the hope. But until next time, everybody, peace out and rock on.
lithoscry.com